Tim Urban's book, What's Our Problem?, offers a unique perspective on the current state of society. The book draws on insights from political theory, psychology, history, and modern-day events to explain what is happening in our world and how we can potentially address it. Urban uses an analogy of a 1,000-page book to illustrate the vast expanse of human history, with the majority of pages dedicated to our hunter-gatherer years and only a few pages dedicated to recent U.S. history. However, the last few pages of the book are the busiest and most consequential, as technology is rapidly advancing, and the future could be a technological utopia or a devastating nightmare. The problem, as Urban notes, is that we are not just reading this book, we are writing it. And currently, society is not maturing in the way that we would like. Tribalism, false news, floundering institutions, and political division are some of the challenges that define our times. The book provides an in-depth analysis of various issues, including the way we think, the divisive political system, and recent social justice trends. Through the book's insights, readers can gain a new perspective on the world and potentially contribute to writing a good page 1001. Overall, What's Our Problem? Offers a fun and educational read, providing readers with a better understanding of the strange state of the modern world and what we can do to fix it. Idea 1. The Ladder of Thought, Understanding Our Cognitive Tendencies. Tim Urban's insightful exploration highlights the cognitive tendencies that influence the way we think and make decisions. By using the analogy of a ladder, Urban sheds light on the conflict between our primitive mind and our higher mind, offering a valuable framework for understanding the causes and implications of our cognitive biases. The ladder of thought begins with the top rung, where our higher mind reigns supreme. At this level, we think like scientists, objectively examining evidence, seeking the truth regardless of our preconceived notions or emotional biases. Moving down to the next rung, our higher mind still has control, but our primitive mind begins to assert itself. This stage, akin to thinking like a sports fan, involves a sense of loyalty or personal investment in particular beliefs, often leading to confirmation biases. The third rung marks a significant shift as our primitive mind gains more influence. Here, we think like attorneys, staunchly defending our positions regardless of logic or evidence. We become motivated not just to be right, but to prove our point at all costs. People on this rung may deny well-established facts or cling to unfounded conspiracy theories. Lastly, the bottom rung represents complete dominance of the primitive mind, leading to zealous thinking. On this rung, individuals become zealots, fiercely protective of their ideas and beliefs, impervious to any challenge or evidence that contradicts their worldview. Understanding this ladder of thought allows us to analyze divisive issues through the lens of cognitive tendencies rather than focusing solely on the content of people's beliefs. Whether discussing climate change, abortion, or political controversies, examining the rung at which individuals are operating helps make sense of their perspectives and behaviors. Urban points out a troubling trend in our society, a rise in what he terms low-rung thinkers, who predominantly occupy the bottom two rungs of the ladder. This shift poses challenges for our collective ability to engage in productive discourse, reach consensus, and address complex issues. By keeping this ladder of thought in mind, we can explore the causes and implications of this trend more deeply. In subsequent sections, we will delve into the factors contributing to the prevalence of low-rung thinking and its potential impact on society. Idea 2. Environmental shifts, the rise of low-rung thinking. Human nature remains relatively constant, but changes in our environment can significantly influence people's behavior. In recent decades, two major shifts in the American environment have contributed to the rise of low-rung thinking, as outlined in the previous section. The first change is a shift towards concentrated tribalism. Throughout American history, there have been periods of political and external conflict. However, when external threats diminished, people turned to internal divisions, seeking out them, to oppose their us. This internal tribalism emerged as a result of the need for low-rung thinkers to have an enemy to fight against. With the absence of external threats, political infighting and ideological purification of parties ensued, leading to a concentrated tribal divide between the American left and right. The second environmental shift is the transformation of concentrated tribalism into hypercharged tribalism. The past generation has witnessed increased mobility, with individuals more likely to travel and live in different areas after completing their education. As political parties became more polarized, political affiliation became intertwined with personal identity. Consequently, people chose to reside in communities that shared their political views. This homogeneity led to the formation of echo chambers, where low-rung thinkers could avoid having their beliefs challenged. Within these echo chambers, people become more extreme in their views, exacerbating the hypercharged tribalism prevalent today. Technological advancements have played a significant role in fueling this phenomenon. The ease of finding and consuming media tailored to specific beliefs, coupled with algorithms that filter news based on individual preferences, further reinforces echo chambers. People no longer need to actively seek out diverse perspectives. Instead, media designed to entertain or promote specific agendas is conveniently delivered to them. Consequently, we find ourselves in a world where competing tribes exist in separate realities, hindering the environment necessary for high-rung thinkers who thrive on open debate and freedom of speech. This convergence of factors has led to a downward spiral, with tribal divides intensifying to the point of resembling religious wars. Challenging one's party is often considered blasphemy in this environment. In the upcoming section, we will explore the real implications of these shifts on today's social landscape, providing a deeper understanding of the challenges we face as a society. Idea 3. Lower-rung thinking, understanding extreme political views. Applying the latter metaphor to extreme political views allows us to examine the thinking patterns rather than the specific content of these ideologies. Tim Urban encourages an open-minded approach when discussing this sensitive subject, emphasizing that it's about how people think, not what they think. Let's explore modern lower-rung thinking from both ends of the political spectrum. Starting with Republican fundamentalists, they exhibit rigid and simplistic thinking, characterized by a black and white worldview. This thinking pattern traces back to the Cold War era, where vague and fear-based responses became prevalent. The rise of Trump and the storming of the Capitol building by his supporters exemplify actions that do not align with the mindset of high-rung thinkers who approach situations thinking like a scientist. Shifting our focus to the political left, the liberal social justice movement's core principles of rectifying systemic inequalities are commendable. However, social justice fundamentalists within this movement present a challenge. They perceive society as fundamentally governed by social forces such as patriarchy or heteronormativity, which they view as universally present and irrefutable, akin to gravity. Rather than asking, "Did racism happen here?" they pose the loaded question, "How did racism happen here?" Both Republican fundamentalists and social justice fundamentalists exemplify lower-rung thinking. This kind of thinking lacks a scientific approach, disregarding the need to test hypotheses or consider alternative ideas. It tends to foster echo chambers, where dissenting voices are shunned. Moreover, it exhibits moral inconsistency, assigning different weights to discrimination based on an individual's social or racial group. However, it is essential to acknowledge that these are complex topics with nuances that extend beyond the scope of this discussion. Urban's main point is that a significant number of people engage in lower-rung thinking, and their influence appears substantial. In the final section, you will discover actions you can take to counteract this trend and contribute to making society a little bit better. By understanding the ladder of thought and the implications of lower-rung thinking, we can work towards fostering a more inclusive and open-minded society. Idea 4. Moving towards positive change, awakening awareness and cultivating courage. The saying that wise people create good times create foolish people, and foolish people create bad times captures the cyclical nature of society. While it would be ideal to skip the bad times altogether and transition directly from foolishness to wisdom, the reality is that learning and growth often emerge from challenging periods. However, despite the issues we have examined, there is reason for optimism, as many individuals across various backgrounds and beliefs are becoming increasingly dissatisfied with the status quo. Surprisingly, the internet, although partially responsible for the current state of affairs, still holds the potential to preserve the flame of free speech. Historically, liberal democracies like America have experienced rough patches, and the problems we face today are relatively recent. Therefore, there is hope that the tide can turn. To initiate positive change, the first step is developing awareness, which begins with humility. Recognize that we are all susceptible to lower-rung thinking, seeking information that confirms our existing beliefs or clinging to ideas without critical examination. It is crucial to acknowledge our biases and hypocrisy because, ultimately, we are all fallible human beings. Engaging in introspection, play the why game with yourself. Challenge a belief you take for granted by continually asking why you hold it, and assess which rung of the metaphorical ladder your thinking aligns with. If the belief fails this scrutiny, be open to changing it. Ladders are designed to be climbed, so strive to reach a higher rung. Once internal awareness is established, it is necessary to extend our focus beyond ourselves, which requires courage. Speaking up is essential to make an impact. Start by avoiding the expression of opinions you do not genuinely hold. While it may seem obvious, it can be challenging to resist conformity for the sake of safety. Find the courage to articulate what you genuinely believe. Gradually, share your authentic thoughts with your trusted circle of friends. This will bolster your confidence and integrity while providing an environment for further reflection and growth. However, remain open to diverse perspectives and discussions to avoid creating an echo chamber. Finally, take your voice public. Seize opportunities to express disagreement, whether in professional settings, social gatherings, or public platforms. You can even consider starting a blog or writing a book to articulate your beliefs authentically. Undeniably, these actions may evoke fear, but it is crucial to recognize that this fear stems from our primitive minds. Remember, the conflict between our primitive mind and our higher mind sparked the problems we face. Ask yourself, which mind do you want to control your thoughts? Any step towards positive change is better than taking none at all. With heightened awareness and cultivated courage, individuals can contribute to resolving the challenges of modern society and forge a path towards a brighter future. Summary: in our rapidly evolving world, the primitive part of our minds is ill-equipped to handle the complexities and challenges we face. Unfortunately, many individuals allow this primitive part to dominate their beliefs and actions, leading to the rise of extreme tribalism, particularly evident in U.S. politics. This intense division hinders positive progress and undermines the collective well-being of society. To effect meaningful change, we must revolutionize the way we think. By adopting the objective detachment and analytical approach of a scientist, we can shape a world that progresses towards the betterment of humanity. However, this transformation is not without its challenges and requires both self-awareness and the courage to take action and speak up, even when faced with discouraging circumstances. The first step in addressing our problem is to ensure that we are not part of it. This calls for honest self-reflection and introspection. Examine your own beliefs and actions, and critically evaluate whether you are influenced by the primitive instincts of your mind. Consider whether your thoughts are shaped by the biases and limited perspectives that hinder progress. By developing self-awareness, we become better equipped to challenge our own assumptions and beliefs. Engage in active questioning and introspection to uncover the motivations and influences driving your thoughts. Are your beliefs based on evidence, reason, and a genuine pursuit of truth? Or are they rooted in instinctual biases and the need to belong to a particular group? Having established self-awareness, the next step is to take proactive measures to change the way we think. Embrace the mindset of a scientist, striving for objectivity and intellectual curiosity. Seek out diverse perspectives and information, and approach them with an open mind. Emphasize critical thinking and evidence-based reasoning, welcoming alternative viewpoints that challenge your own. Furthermore, it is vital to act and speak up, even when the task seems daunting or the outcome uncertain. Recognize that progress and change often arise from the collective efforts of individuals who are willing to challenge the status quo. Be courageous in expressing your beliefs and standing up for what you perceive to be right, even in the face of opposition or discouragement. Remember, transforming our thinking is an ongoing journey that requires commitment and perseverance. It may feel overwhelming at times, but each individual's contribution is essential in shaping a more enlightened society. In conclusion, by shifting our thinking away from primitive instincts and adopting the rational, analytical approach of a scientist, we can create a world that progresses toward positive change. Through self-awareness and the courage to act and speak up, we can challenge extreme tribalism and cultivate an environment conducive to collective growth and well-being. Now, thank you for taking the time to watch, and if you found value in this video, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. And in case you want to buy the book, use the link in the description. Trust me, you won't regret it.